So over the past 2 weeks, I built this new deck here at my off-grid cabin in the woods. And in this video, I'm gonna be putting all that footage together so you can see me build it from start to finish. Now, during the build process, I also built some skirting, but I'm going to skip over that part of the build and just stick to the deck footage. So if you see some drastic changes happen from one shot to another, that's what's going on. I'm just kind of skipping that part of the project and sticking to the deck. I have a separate video on my channel about building that skirting. So if you want to see that, you can check that out. But let's get right into me building this deck.
Every rider give it their all
because he can last. He's the only guy that can last that long. Jordan and doing all those guys doing all that stuff, form of expression that we weren't.
Ugly, but nobody will ever see it. Level. Perfect. We're level. And we are equidistant. All right, I got the first beam to the new deck in place. Now what I'm gonna do is remove all of those old deck boards. And I drew a line along the ends there halfway across that beam. That's gonna play an important factor later. And I'm not quite sure how exactly I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna figure it out as I go. So I'm not even gonna try to explain my thought process. You'll just see what's gonna happen. All right, we got a skeleton here now. Let's go cut some deck boards.
Johnson Magoo, I think it was.
My favorites in my history, my history of stuff.
Real-line bears. Why would they? They cornered the sports market on masculinity. Competes in their league. ESPN would love nothing more than to showcase Favre, Warren Sapp, Marshall Falk, Brian Urlacher, all in town, because I do think he's getting picked on here, and I think he's got a great team, and they're putting a cloud. Steve, before I get to the next topic, I want to tell you guys. Turns out that the Belichick system is really smart on the music industry, and maybe the whole entertainment industry as a whole. Not only your mentors on the other side, but with Dion, if you know what's coming, you're changing. But knowing a blitz is coming.
Now it's looking like a deck around here. I'm gonna go around and toenail these beams into those short little posts. Later on I'll probably add some brackets, but I don't have them right now, so just gonna make sure this thing holds while I cut and then screw the deck boards onto the top. Now all these 4x6 beams have been under that back porch since I got the cabin. I don't know where they're from. They all got all these holes in them, and they all say Brooks 7-31 DE6P DF6P DF6P. Looks like they're from like a shipyard or something. I don't know, no idea, but they're gonna be a great base for my deck here.
I don't have time for even making those connections on a friend level. Engage me in conversation that's fruitless.
Got my first deck board put on, and I figured out this angle on both ends just through a process of trial and error. I started with a scrap piece, drew on it with a pencil, went over to the chop saw, cut it, brought it back over here, checked it, cut it a little bit more, cut a little bit more, cut a little bit more until it was just the perfect angle. So I'm just gonna cut the angle on one side, push it up flush against this edge here, and then on that far end I'm just gonna let them hang over, and then I'll run the skill saw along the edge so I have a nice straight cut on that far edge. Just a few more. All right, I'm back at the cabin with the materials that I need to finish phase 1 of this new skirting and deck project. I wrapped it up by putting screws in the rest of the deck boards. I drew a straight line so all my screws are nice and straight with each other. And I also added some brackets from the post to the beams. Some of you may be thinking like, dude, you need to add some bracing on those posts so that it's more solid, but I'm not worried about it. Once you screw the deck boards on and I put those brackets on, yes, technically, if I decided to crawl underneath there and kick one of those posts, I mean, I don't even know if I could do that. So it's, that deck is plenty sturdy for me. I think this porch turned out pretty nice, but it's not complete until I put a handrail on. And I got the materials today to do it. And the next 48 hours are supposed to be dry and sunny here. So I'm gonna try and knock this out over the next 2 days. After that, it's gonna pour down rain. So I'm gonna try and get it done before then. We'll see. So I'm going to start by building the stairs, and before I build the stairs, I'm going to cap off the end of this deck with some trim pieces here to cover that up, make it look pretty. Okay, I got that one screwed on. Now, before I start building my stairs, I better prop this open and leave it open so that while I'm building my stairs, I know where that's gonna be. Because if I don't do that right now, I may have forgotten and then built the stairs and then realized, oh shoot, the door doesn't open. So now I know, okay, I gotta build the stairs over there.
10,000 miles gone, but there's blood on my hand.
Take me to your river. I'm gonna live forever. Don't make them feel forsaken. Just lead them safely to the light. I think that will hold my stairs. I know. I really should notch out of this stair tread so that this is up in there, if you know what I'm saying. So for those of you that know what I'm saying, I hear you, but it's gonna be strong. 1, 2, 3, 4 screws plus 6 more screws in there. It'll be fine. It'll hold. Not yourself. In my experience building decks, I have found that a construction pencil's width is a good distance between your treads. So that's what I'm going with here. Oh, no. No, I screwed up. Oh, dang it. All right, well, I can't say I haven't done this before. I have done this before, and I didn't learn from my mistake. These pre-cut tread things from Home Depot, the very bottom one is already cut to size for a kick plate and then 2 top plates and then a kick plate here. But then on the very top, this part right here, it's wider at the top. Because see, this is a pencil width here, this is a pencil width here, but if I do the same thing up top, if I make this a pencil width like that, and I do another pencil width there, it's too short. There's a step right there, which is not good. I want it to be right there, but then this gap is too big. So I need to take all these off and cut 1.5 inches off of here. Now we'll do a pencil width. All right, mission accomplished. I finished the stairs before dark. I will pick up on things tomorrow. Oh, and watch this. Here we go, here we go. Woo! Look how close that is. That was intentional. Made it as close as I could to hitting the door. I'm back the next morning, and guess what? I woke up to realize that I had made another mistake yesterday when building these stairs. The whole thing needed to drop down 1.5 inches. So I took some treads off and I removed these metal brackets. I'm not even going to use those anymore. I had to dig the pier pads down into the ground, re-level them, and then I ended up just putting screws directly into that board that comes down, and I put them into the back of the stair treads and just bypass those metal brackets completely. Oh my gosh, so unfortunately I'm getting a late start to the project because of that. Today, 7 inches, 7 inches, 7 inches. Level and level. Stairs complete. It's all good. Reset. The past is gone. I am born anew. And now I'm going to build the handrail. Oh yeah, that's a big step. Making progress here. All right, well, even though there's still plenty of daylight left, I think I'm gonna call it a day. Mental fatigue is a real thing. As I stand back here and inspect my work, I can see that this right here needs to slide down because this is supposed to match that. So it won't be too hard. That's 4 screws. I'll just slide it down and then screw it back together. Then the pickets are gonna go screw on the bottom here and then on the top there. So that's gonna work out okay. If I was feeling better, I would finish this little section right here, but man, there was so much thinking and contemplating, and then those mistakes that I made just kind of got to me, and I feel exhausted, like I could sleep right now. I want to pass out. So I'm gonna get something to eat that will probably help me feel better, and then we'll pick up on things tomorrow. Always good to start off your workday by doing something that you know is going to be successful. So I started off by achieving a goal here, and now I got to frame the other handrail over there, and then it'll be time to make the pickets. All right, this deck is ready for pickets now. This was always going to be a tough angle here, but I made it even tougher on myself by not just shifting the whole deck that way to avoid this door completely, but because of how this door opens, I had to cut not only this angle this way, but this angle this way on all these pieces right here. Well, not that one. And then this one completely avoided that. It's just one angle because the door doesn't swing up that far. But the door avoids that and it all works. And it misses the stairs too. I've decided I'm gonna build a handrail going up these stairs too on the front deck. So I'm gonna go ahead and build that real quick. And then after that's done, I will work on doing this same picket design here, here, there, and there. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the history, this is my original template. This is the first one I cut out. You might be able to see how many times I've used it. There's red Sharpie and pencil marks all over this one because it's the one I've used to mark out all the ones that I've ever cut out. And this cardboard cutout is the one I used to make that. The backstory on why I created this tree design is because I knew I was going to be building a deck, and I wanted to just not use straight pickets because that's ordinary and everybody uses that. So I was walking down the street in the city one day, and I noticed on a pillar of a parking garage there was something very similar to this. It was a tree that someone drew, and they drew it on all the pillars of the parking garage, and I was like, oh, that's close to what I want to do. It's a little too detailed for what I want to do, but it's close. So I took a picture of it. I think I have a video of me looking at that picture that I took on my phone on the ground as I freehand drew this tree out. So I just kind of looked at that picture and used it as inspiration for the general shape. Like, this is the tree, and you can see how before I cut this cardboard out, there were like several iterations on the same thing before I finally like, okay, I kept etching it in, like, no, that's too much of a branch, I need less of a branch, okay, let's make it skinnier, let's make it wider, till I finally created my own unique design here. So that's the backstory on this. I'm from the Pacific Northwest, and I love evergreen trees, and I love that aesthetic of houses in Europe in the mountains and cabins. And it's not just Europe, you know, you'll find them in the mountains of Colorado or wherever, ski towns. They often have custom handrails and shutters that have something like this. So this is my version of that. we go. One down, a whole lot more to go. I'm exactly halfway through now. Ah, my hands hurt. They're looking pretty good though.
I'll say this before I start. Good. Okay, good. I talk sports quicker. We can talk about his basketball. You should be able to.
So I'm pre-drilling these so that when I put my screws in, these don't split. The wood doesn't split. Nice. Oh yeah. Boom, boom, boom. All right, everybody. Well, I did it. That's another project down here at my off-grid cabin in the woods. This one was a challenge, mostly on the mind. Let me tell you, a lot of thinking going on in this project. But I think it all worked out pretty well. To finish this project off, I installed this handrail here. Now, this is a walking stick, actually. It was given to me by my step grandfather Larry, who has now passed away, unfortunately. He gave me this walking stick that he got from Alaska, and because I have trekking poles, I've never actually used it as a walking stick, but it's been sitting over there on the porch for a while, and I was like, you know what, I could use that as a handrail. So last night I put that together, and it took some adjustment. I actually started off by installing it a little bit too high, and then after just kind of standing and using my own body for scale, I adjusted it to the right height. And I know it looks kind of long sticking out here, but I kind of like that, because as you walk up and approach, you can start grabbing it early. I might cut it off shorter here, and I'm definitely gonna probably round this off, sand it down, because this is kind of with it sticking out here, it could get caught on your pocket or something. So when I have guests and family members come up here who are up there in age, I know that when people who have trouble getting around on their feet, as soon as they see stairs, they're like, handrail, I need handrail. So I would like to add something that you can actually physically grab with your hand onto this one as well, because when you're exiting the cabin, like I said, if you're an elderly folk and you're walking, you're like, oh boy, stairs, where's the handrail? I need something to grab onto. And then same thing as you're walking up to the cabin. Before, there was no handrail, and so that's quite an obstacle for someone who has trouble getting around on their feet. So now you can walk up, and at least for now, you can grab onto this and just have something to hold on to. Well, that's a wrap for this project. I really appreciate you guys checking it out. I get a lot of comments on my channel now, so I really appreciate everyone's feedback, a lot of positivity on the channel, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate the viewership, the feedback. Everything is just really keeps me going, keeps me positive. So thanks again for watching, really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one.